It's time now for County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Brad Miller as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives here in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's County-Wide.
Good day and welcome to the program. It is County-Wide. Brad Miller with you, and we're happy to welcome into studio a guest that we have chatted with a number of times and very happily do so again today. Mary Hawks is the director of the Prescott office of the Better Business Bureau. Hello to you.
Good day.
Happy to have you back in our studio, and we chat with you when we joke that Mary's always flying a red flag, because we say that very often, Mary, and our listeners to our newscast will be very familiar with Mary's voice, certainly, and you've appeared on this program any number of times, and we're always anxious to have you come on because you're usually telling us about people that are out there. The Better Business Bureau is the watchdog for folks that are trying to relieve us of our money without us wanting to do that. Things like that.
Unfortunately, yes, that does
Shopping
happen.
tips. And I know you do. We should do a show sometime on just what you do very locally. We talk about scams and these kinds of things a lot. Maybe we should we'll do that. We'll set that up. We'll chat again
We
in the
do a
future,
lot of education, too.
A lot of education for small business, big business, and we'll get to that. But today we are going to talk a little bit about holiday shopping. And I wanted first up, as we record our program today, it's 1 week away from Thanksgiving. So we'll get into the holiday shopping, and the TV broadcast will replay a number of times, probably through the holiday season. But as we chat, police departments in Prescott and in Flagstaff have been warning consumers about another scam. None of them are really new, but they're variations of the old, and this Moneypak thing. Tell our folks about that.
The Moneypak Card, oftentimes called a green dot card, is basically something you or I could go into a store and purchase it, much like a debit card, and use it to pay bills, use it to recharge debit cards, in other words, to use as cash to pay for something.
Okay.
Unfortunately, scam artists are using this as a tool also, so it does have legitimate use for you, me, for consumers anywhere. But what scam artists are doing, whatever the scam might be, they might say to the intended victim, wire me the money. The victim wires the money. There's no paper trail. The scam artist goes to whatever store in indicated locale, picks up the cash that was wired. With a Moneypak card, instead what they can do is they can say, okay, to the victim, you go to the store, purchase a $500 Moneypak card, and I'm going to call you back this afternoon, and you can pay for whatever the scam is. Just give me the number on the back of the card. And if you do, that scam artist basically has use of that card and could drain that account immediately. So once you give that number, it's gone. And that even cuts down on the paper trail even more. The scam artist no longer needs to go into a store or location to pick up the wired money. All he needs is that phone call to you, the victim, to get that number on the back of the
So now the
Moneypak
criminal
card.
Truly doesn't have to leave his couch to rip you off.
Does not.
Not even to go down and pick up the wire transfer.
No, not at all.
Well, we say that, but it's less exposure. They don't pick it up. They don't ever show up. If the cops can trace it,
that is correct.
They can't say, well, who picked it up? You don't even they don't even have that step anymore. Gosh, the way the energy these guys spend trying to rip us off is extraordinary.
Whether they're calling someone saying you've won a lottery, or whether they say it's a job scam and they say it's part of your job responsibility.
Well, in Prescott, they claim to be APS. I mean, they claim to be the utility.
Yes, calling businesses claiming to be APS and saying you need to pay your bill immediately using Moneypak. Also, I haven't heard it locally yet from any consumers, but purportedly there are calls from individuals claiming to be from the IRS. And
when you attach names of known entities or agencies, it adds to if you're at home and you hear APS and you're a customer, you're maybe going to listen a little more closely, so they're not
you think, that's a credible company, okay? And they're taking you by surprise, and scam artists counting on you not verifying the information, and that's part of what's in your control. You can say, I'll call you back. Call the entity directly, whether that's the IRS or APS or whatever it might be, and say, hey, I just got a call. calling the legitimate number, the number you know to be true from a bill or from a true website, not the phone number they give you, because that could just be part of the scam.
It seems like the kind of boil it down bottom line rule of thumb here, and we talk about the Facebook scam, the grandma scam. My nephew, my grandson is in jail and send money. Anytime someone calls you, you don't know who they are, no matter who they claim to be, if they are urging you to very, very quickly, in a very quick fashion, send them money or personal information, you may be onto a bad deal.
You know, Brad, you just named probably one of the best points that any consumer could remember. You get an unsolicited call from someone you don't know, and they are asking for that information or credit card numbers. Do not give it. Verify it, not through them, but through what you know to be the real company or source.
Bad news.
Right there. You laid it on the line.
Once again, another scam is out there. The Moneypak scam. Just be very, very cautious. Somebody calls you up on the phone or sends you an email and says, "Oh, you have to act right away." No matter who they claim to be, check it out at the very least, and be very, very cautious.
And Brad, I should add one more thing to this too. Unfortunately, scam artists are clever. You know, that's how they make their money. So let's say you have caller ID, and supposedly they're claiming to be APS, as there are some calls now. Just because it says APS, do keep in mind that scam artists can spoof phone numbers and make it appear from whomever they want it to appear.
Don't do it. Or check it out.
Check it out.
Check it out. The bottom line. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll take our break just a tiny bit early. When we come back, we'll get into the holiday shopping tips.
All right.
And, the online, I think we're going to talk about especially today. Black Friday's coming, Cyber Monday, all of those things are on the way. Mary Hawks is our guest, Better Business Bureau, and we'll be back right after this.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Daddy, I'm gonna find you.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it, I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Welcome back to the program. Mary Hawks is here, Better Business Bureau. We could talk all day about these things, but
we could.
Let's zero in on just a few. But you've got a terrific website, lots of resources online through the Better Business Bureau for any of the things that you hear Mary talking about.
Indeed.
Yeah, so let's, and to find that, it's a simple one.
Yeah, well, the national one is BBB.org.
Right. And you can go there and just a wealth of information about holiday shopping and scam prevention and all those kinds of things. So a terrific place to go. But as we get going, Mary, here it comes, the Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, the traditional kickoff. Although the TV advertisers certainly haven't waited for Black Friday. The Cyber Monday, which is when? How does that one work?
Monday after Thanksgiving.
Okay, so coming up here again too. Okay, and that's when we really start our online shopping, and I think that's kind of what we want to focus on today. All right, I'm ready to go. I got my list. I've checked it twice. My computer's warmed up.
All right.
I credit cards all spread out on the counter in front of me. I'm ready to buy.
All right.
What do I need to know before I click?
Well, I would say, you know, you want to try to have fun, enjoy it. You're buying gifts for family and friends and having a good time and trying to think of what they might want, whether you're going to a brick and mortar store locally. And I don't know about you, but I do try to shop locally if I can.
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
looking for certain items. If I can't, well, then I may look online.
Right.
But if you're looking online, because that's what we're talking about, you know, the day after Thanksgiving, Cyber Monday, you're on there. And Cyber Monday is particularly like supposedly the big sales for electronics.
Okay.
Okay? You're shopping. Go to websites you trust.
Yeah.
I may have related a similar story in the past, but just a few weeks ago, I was looking for a gift for someone, and I couldn't find it in the stores, and I found what I wanted online. And I thought, I'm going to order it. But then I checked their Better Business Bureau Business Review, and they had had over 2,000 complaints during the last 3 years. Many of them because merchandise was not delivered, merchandise was defective, merchandise was not as shown on the online store. And I thought, okay, I'm not ordering from this website, but the website was gorgeous. So don't be fooled by a gorgeous website.
Rose doesn't always smell like a rose.
It does not. Now, if it's an online company you use regularly and trust it, that's one thing. Just like if you go to a local store and trust the vendors, you know, you build that certain trust in a vendor. But if it's a new website or one you've not gone to before, check them out.
Yeah.
You know, that's how Better Business Bureau can help. And if you don't know where they're located and all you have is the URL, the website address, you can just take that information and check that on BBB.
Now, how do I do that? You said you checked the BBB website and you found thousands of complaints in a short period of time. How do I? You're Mary. You're with the BBB, so you know how to do that right away. How do I do it?
Any consumer can pull up that public information. Now, you can go to our website, which is arizonabbb.org or yavapai.bbb.org. But if you're going nationally, just bbb.org. It will give you the option of searching for companies in the United States or Canada.
Okay.
So let's assume you're going to check on a United States company.
Sure.
You just check on that. We'll then take you to a page where you can hit search for information on a company. Then we'll give you the option to fill in information, whether it's the company name, whether it's the company website, whether it's the company phone number. You just put one of those pieces in, hit search, and then it will pull up. If there's an exact match to that company name, it will pull that up. It will. So you need to look to make sure you're clicking on the right thing, because many companies, if you're checking nationwide, may have the same or similar names.
Yeah, right.
So you need to check, looking at it, which one is it. Then you just pull it up and pull up that business review. How long the company's been in business, who owns it, what type of business it really is, what are they really selling, if there have been complaints, if they've responded to the complaints. We also have a new section on customer reviews. That is, if a person doesn't have a complaint necessarily, maybe they had an excellent experience, very positive, neutral, or negative, they can put a customer review on there.
Gotcha.
Now, so you can check, you can read the complaint contents, you can read the customer review, and determine for yourself, is this a company I want to deal with?
Let me ask you this. You mentioned the company you were talking about, 2,000 complaints or so in 3 years. To me, that's click goodbye. But sometimes what I'm getting at is, you know, every business can make a mistake.
Yes, indeed.
And there might be a complaint will show up over, oops, you know, we really. So I guess you might look at a number of complaints. If there aren't that many, can you also scope out the nature of the complaints and then determine, well, that could have been a slip up. Other reviews are good. In other words, I don't want to say, oh, there's one complaint against Fred's, you know, toy shop.
Have complaints.
Forget him. Yeah.
That's the nature of doing business. That's going to happen.
But you'll help me with that too, right?
Right. Well, what we look at is how the company responds to the complaint.
Okay, sure.
If they respond to the complaint. And you can look at the complaint detail. If there is a complaint filed, what the consumer said, what the company's response was, how the company handled that. And, you know, large nationwide companies may indeed have a lot of complaints because they're dealing with millions of customers every year. So what we're also looking at is if they're responding and if those complaints are being resolved, if there's a pattern that we've brought to their attention that they're not addressing. So if we have a full report, much of that information will be right there as public information.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that you can make that decision. Do I want to deal with this company or not?
It seems like to me the most value that I would find and have, quite frankly, if you're dealing with the big ones. Amazon's the biggest, I suppose, or one of those. And that's me saying that, not Mary. But one time I was looking for a special battery for an older model movie camera, and that's when you start to get in. There's dozens of them out there, battery this and battery that.com, you know, and on and on and on, and there's a bunch of them. And now I'm swimming in really unfamiliar water, and I looked at your website, and most of them came in okay, and then I picked one based on that, based on price and other things. So it really helped me, and it wasn't a complaint issue so much as just trying to suss out to make me feel more secure when I was in an unfamiliar area. Or
let's say you're thinking of buying a high-ticket item online from a company you don't know anything about, and you find a BBB report, and there's been no complaints, but the company's only been in business 3 months. You know, so you have to weigh all of those things. You know, what works. But that's how you can do some of that research. And what I also suggest to consumers, particularly if you're thinking about a big ticket item, just go online, use whatever search engine you use, put in the company's name, and put like problems, complaints, reviews, and just see what consumers might be saying if you see any patterns of issues about this company. In addition to looking at BBB
put on the old common sense cap again too. That'll
just
steer you through it with all these tools. Let me ask you about, I know a big thing here again, we talk about shopping online, are after the holidays, the Christmas wrap is all put away and everybody's happy and lazy and all those things. Returns and exchanges and things like that, that can become a whole new kettle of fish online.
Consumers cannot assume that just because nephew Mike didn't like the toy that you sent him or the bathrobe didn't fit for grandma that they can automatically return it. You can't assume that. So make sure, if you think there's a possibility it might be returned, determine what the company's return, refund, and credit policy is. Maybe they don't accept returns after 30 days. Maybe they don't accept any returns. Maybe a return is online store credit only. So check that out. Maybe, too, if you return an item, it has to be unopened in the original packaging, and this is oftentimes true of electronics and digital devices. So make sure you know what the parameters are and what the return policy is. Let's say, yes, you can return it, but you have to pay the shipping and handling. And you think, okay, fine, no big deal, but that could be a factor in whether or not you want to buy it, because if it has to be returned, shipping and handling could almost equal the price of the product.
And you'll find that a lot of times in the heat of the moment when you're shopping and excited and everybody's, you don't think about those things. And they can come back around and it can, I know it can be a hassle.
It's just a little extra homework you might need to do to determine what the return and refund policy is. And you want to find that on the website.
It'll be there.
You know, look for it, find it,
All right, Mary Hawk's our guest. Better Business Bureau. We'll take a short break and we'll be back right after this.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
I'm 1 on Rookie Guide. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash, 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We know what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the program. Again, Mary Hawks is here at Better Business Bureau talking about getting your holiday shopping off to a good and safe and secure start. You know, Mary, there's been a whole kind of generation, I think, that has come. We mentioned Amazon earlier, and that's and I think many people, I'll say just from my own personal perspective, have had a fairly positive experience with Amazon. And I think that a lot of people, when they start getting into some of these other kind of bigger shops, Fred's List, Weebay, you know what I'm saying? That's a different setup, really. Even Amazon's starting to become more of a third party, not more of, but including a third party setup. And these others, that's pretty much what they are exclusively. You're not buying from a company, you're buying from somebody else, and that company's brokering the deal, basically.
Yes.
Doesn't that add a little bit of concern, like from a consumer advocate? It adds
another layer of, I say, responsibility for the consumer to not only have a comfort level with the website, but to have a comfort level with that seller.
Yeah.
For example, if you're going to a third-party auction site, whatever that might be, you want to check the seller's reviews, how long the seller has been around. And I'm going to go back to check the reviews, because if they're all written by the person's friends,
well, there you go.
They may all sound very similar.
There you go, exactly.
So you want to read through them and see what they've purchased, you know, what the satisfaction level has been. You also, let's say, oftentimes on third-party auction sites, there are photos of the items.
Right.
So if you don't see any photos or descriptions, that just raises a flag. Be a little more cautious there. If you are looking for something on a third-party auction site and you express an interest, and then you get a personal email off the site that says, hey, we can do a better deal ourselves, let's be very cautious if someone tries to, I'll say, lure you out of that website and to do it offline, or say, hey, I've got a private escrow account set up. Let's not use eBay's, PayPal, or whatever it might be.
It's kind of like the guy on the sidewalk saying, hey, Louie, come down in the alley.
Kind of.
It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So you want to just have that other layer of awareness what you're purchasing.
Yeah. All right, Mary, there's so many things. We could talk for a long, long time. Again, the website's ArizonaBBB.org or BBB.org for the national organization. Mary, you're out there fighting the good fight.
Indeed, we're trying to get the information out there.
Telling us what's happening.
And I say, if consumers have questions about anything we've talked about, or business issues or scam issues, they can call us.
Yeah.
928-772-3410.
Just like that. Give them a ring. Terrific information. They're out there fighting for you, the consumer. Holiday time, we're all consumers. Well, we are all the time anyway, but especially holiday time. Mary Hawks of the Better Business Bureau, we thank you so much for talking to us.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it.
Good to have you here as always. It's our program, and we'll see you next time.
This has been County-Wide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Listen in each Tuesday and Thursday as we tackle the hot topics and talk to the decision makers across Yavapai County. That's County-Wide with Brad Miller and Paul David each Tuesday and Thursday on this Yavapai Broadcasting station.